Welcome back to the Nancy Levin Show. So I did something radical, and I want to tell you about it. Not because it was dramatic, not because it changed my life in some sweeping cinematic way, but because of what it showed me about me. And I think maybe about you too. So here's what I did. I deleted my entire inbox, all of it. Over 38,000 emails gone in a single click. Now, if you're someone who keeps a tidy inbox, if you're one of those rare and luminous creatures who lives at inbox zero, I want you to know that I have always regarded you with a mixture of awe and suspicion because I'm not that person. I have tried to be. Oh, I have tried. I've done all the things you're supposed to do. I created the folders. I sorted my messages into read, save, archive. I have followed every methodology out there. I have read the articles. I've watched the videos. I've downloaded the apps with the very serious names, and none of them worked for me. None of them, which is how I found myself on a beautiful Saturday morning, staring down an inbox with more than 38,000 emails in it. And I want to set the scene for you because the scene matters. It was like one of those mornings that feels like a gift. Light coming in my window, coffee in hand, the whole day stretched out in front of me, open and unclaimed. And I had decided that this was going to be the morning I finally dealt with the inbox, the backlog, the number, the number, that little red circle on the icon that follows you like low-grade guilt. So I had a plan. I was going to take my laptop outside, sit on my deck, and make a whole morning of it. I'd go through every email one by one. I'd sort, I'd file, I'd finally tame the beast. And I started to scroll. And as I scrolled, as I really honestly thought about what I was about to do, about to spend the hours of this gorgeous, unrepeatable Saturday sorting through thousands and thousands of emails, one thought rose up in me, clear as a bell. You have got to be kidding me. And that's when it hit me. I don't have to do this. I want to say that again because I think a lot of us need to hear it. And I think we need to hear it more than once. I don't have to do this. Now, here's the thing that you should understand about me. I am actually a rule follower by nature. And if there's a way you're supposed to do something, I want to know what it is, and I want to do it correctly because I want the gold star at the end. I am the person who reads the instructions. I am the person who arrives early. I am the person who, when told there is a system, assumes the problem is me if the system doesn't work, not the system, me. And I want you to notice that because that little move, the system is fine, so something must be wrong with me, that move is the whole ballgame. That's the move that keeps so many of us trapped. So there I was, rule follower, gold star seeker, person who reads the instructions, sitting in front of 38,000 emails that no system had ever helped me manage. About to spend my Saturday performing a ritual that had failed me over and over again because I was supposed to. And then something in me just stopped. Yes, I am a rule follower by nature, but I refuse to be victimized by my inbox. So here's what I did. I searched for the few emails I actually knew I needed, the ones I wanted to keep, and I set them aside. And then I hit select all and I hit delete. Bye-bye. And I want to tell you about the feeling of relief, because the relief was immediate. It was not gradual. It wasn't, well, I'll feel better about this eventually. It was immediate. I felt free. I felt lighter. I felt unburdened. Like I'd set down something I'd been carrying for ages. And I'd forgotten that it was so heavy. And so there I sat on the beautiful Saturday morning with no giant number staring me down. And I thought, this is what I wanted. Not the system, not the folders, not the gold star, this feeling. Now, let me say the practical thing, because I know some of you are clutching your chests right now. As we all know, nothing online is ever really gone. We all know this. A quick search will resurrect any deleted email from the dead. So I wasn't really being reckless. I wasn't really burning the village down. I was just choosing not to live inside of it anymore. And here's the question I sat with afterward, and the one I hand to you today. Are there experts out there who could teach me a system to manage my inbox? Of course, absolutely. There are brilliant people who have literally built entire careers on helping you organize your digital life. But I don't want to do it their way. I tried it over and over and over again, and nothing worked for me. And in that moment, scrolling through those 38,000 plus emails, I knew with total clarity what I wanted. I didn't want to figure it out. I didn't want to optimize it. I didn't want to finally crack the code that everyone else has seemed to crack. I wanted to hit delete and give myself a fresh start and feel free. That's it. That was my desire. And for once, I let that desire be enough. I want to slow this down here, because this is the part that actually matters. Because it's not about email. You knew that. I knew that. The email was just the costume that the lesson was wearing. But the real thing, the thing underneath, is this. How much of your life are you spending doing the things that you've been told you're supposed to do? How many systems are you forcing yourself back into again and again? Not because they work for you, but because everyone agrees they're supposed to. And then here is the deeper cut, the one that took me years to see in myself. When the system doesn't work, when you've tried the folders and the methods and the productivity hacks and the whole machinery of the shoulds, and it still doesn't work, what are you making it mean about you? Because if you're like me, you're making it mean something's wrong with you. You don't question the rule. You question yourself. You think, other people can do this. Why can't I? I must be undisciplined. I must be lazy. I must be missing something everyone else has figured out. And so you try harder. You recommit. You start again on Monday. You buy the new app. You recreate the folders, and the whole time, the actual truth is so simple, it's almost insulting. That way was never going to work for you. And it's not a character flaw, and it's not a mismatch. There's a difference between a rule that serves you and a rule you've simply never questioned. Most of us walk around dragging an entire inbox of unquestioned rules behind us wherever we go. 38,000 of them. The way you're supposed to run your business, the way you're supposed to parent, the way you're supposed to age, the way you're supposed to rest or not rest, the way success is supposed to look, the way you're supposed to want the things you've been told you're supposed to want. And I think this is one of the most quietly exhausting things a person can carry. Not the big dramatic burdens. Those, at least, we tend to notice. It's the low hum of the should, the constant background sorting, the folders we keep creating for a life that doesn't actually fit inside of them, So let me bring in something I talk about all the time because it's exactly what was operating on that Saturday morning before I hit delete. I'm talking about underlying commitments. On the surface, I was committed to having an organized inbox. That was the stated goal. That's what I would have told you if you'd asked. But underneath was a much older commitment, a commitment to being good, a commitment to following the rules, to doing it the right way, to being the person who reads the instructions and gets the gold star and never gives anyone a reason to think she didn't try hard enough. That was what I was most committed to. It had nothing to do with email, and it had been running my life for decades. And here's what's so tricky about our underlying commitments. They're not random. They keep us safe. Somewhere along the way, being a rule follower did protect me. It did earn me approval and belonging, and it kept me from a particular pain of being the one who got it wrong. But I don't want you to make your old patterns wrong. I'm not asking for you to delete yourself. I'm asking for you to notice when an old, outdated commitment that at one time protected you has quietly turned into a cage, because that's the moment of choice. That's the whole hinge of transformation right there. And this is where I want to bring in something we come back to again and again, what I call the transformation equation. Change equals vision plus choice plus action. I'm going to walk you through it using my inbox because it's almost embarrassingly perfect. The vision in that moment, I could suddenly see what I actually wanted, not the organized inbox, but the fresh start, the lightness, the freedom. I could feel it. That's the vision. The vision isn't the goal you're supposed to have. Vision is the truth of what you're actually longing for when you stop performing and get honest. Choice. This is the one so often we easily skip. This is the one we pretend we don't have. I could have kept scrolling. I could have spent Saturdays sorting, resentful and dutiful, and told myself I had no choice. But I did. I did have a choice. I always had a choice. And I had just been treating it like an obligation. Choice is the moment you stop saying I have to and start telling the truth. I'm choosing to, or I'm choosing not to. And then action, the click, the delete, the bye-bye. And here's what I want you to really hear. The action took 1 second. 1 second. The vision and then the choice, those were the work. The action was almost nothing. We get this so backwards. We think transformation is going to require some enormous, grinding, heroic effort. And so we brace for it, we delay it, and we wait until we feel ready, which is to say we wait forever. But so often, once you've actually seen what you want, once you've felt into it, once you choose it, the action is just a click, a boundary spoken in 1 sentence, a no said out loud, a door closed gently, a delete. So now I want to take you somewhere even a little deeper into the arc I walk through with everyone I work with, because this is what was really happening underneath on that deck on that Saturday. I call it release, reclaim, rebirth. Release, that's the obvious part of the story, the delete, the letting go, the 38,000 emails dropping away. But notice I didn't release them by figuring them out. I didn't earn my way to freedom by finally conquering the backlog. I released them by deciding they didn't get to own me anymore. Release isn't always something you do after you've handled everything. Sometimes release is the handling. Sometimes it's the most responsible, most grown up, most powerful thing you can do. Setting the whole thing down unsolved. Then reclaim. This is the part we miss when we tell these stories as if they're only about getting rid of things. Because I didn't just delete emails. I reclaimed something. I reclaimed my Saturday. I reclaimed my morning. But more than that, I reclaimed the right to want what I want. I reclaimed the part of me that had been overruled for years by being the rule follower. The part that said quietly underneath everything, I don't actually want to do this way. For so long, I treated that voice as a problem to be managed, as resistance, as the thing standing between me and the gold star. And on that Saturday, I finally heard it as wisdom. That's what reclaiming is. It's not acquiring something new. It's taking back something that was always yours, that you'd handed away in exchange for approval. And then rebirth. And now I want to be honest with you because I'm allergic to an overstatement. Deleting my inbox did not give me a glittering new life. I did not descend the stairs the next morning a wholly transformed woman, but something was reborn. A way of relating to myself, a new piece of permission, a new willingness to ask in any situation, wait, do I actually have to do it the way I've been told? And once you ask that question, you feel the freedom that comes when the answer is no. And you can't unask it. It starts showing up everywhere. That's rebirth. Not a single dramatic event, but a new lens, a new default, a self who has remembered that she's allowed to choose. So let me bring this home to you, because this was never my story. It was just my example. I want you to find your inbox. And I don't mean your actual email, but maybe. Where in your life are you carrying 38,000 unquestioned shoulds? Where are you forcing yourself again and again back into a system that has never once worked for you and blaming yourself for the fact that it doesn't? Where have you decided that the way everyone says it's supposed to be done must be right and that you must be the problem? Get specific, because the magic isn't in the abstract idea of freedom. The magic is in the actual thing. It's in a morning routine you've been white knuckling because a podcast told you it would change your life. It is a way of running your business that drains you, that you've adopted because someone successful swore by it. It's a relationship dynamic, a role you always play, a way of being the dependable one, the easy one, the responsible one who never needs too much. It's a belief in who you are that you accepted so long ago that you never stopped to ask, is this even true? So here's the question, and I want you to let it land, not just hear it and move on. Where can you hit delete on something you've been told you should do, or believe, or feel, or try? And then the gentler question underneath it, how can you free yourself? Now, I know what the rule follower in you is doing right now because I know mine. She's saying, but what if I delete the wrong thing? What if I need it? What if letting go is irresponsible? And I want to offer you the same comfort I gave myself on that Saturday. Nothing real is ever truly gone. The wisdom you've gained stays. The love stays, the lessons stay. The version of you who tried so hard for so long, she stays too. And she deserves your tenderness, not your contempt. You're not deleting yourself. You're not deleting what matters. You're deleting the should, the burden, the numbers staring you down. And if it turns out you need something back, you'll find it. You'll always find what's truly yours. So here's what I invite you into doing this week. not someday, this week. Find one should, just one, something you keep doing because you're supposed to, that has never actually worked for you. See your fresh start. That's the vision. Feel into the relief that's on the other side. Then make the choice out loud. I'm choosing not to do this anymore. And then take one small micro action, the delete, the no, the boundary, the click. It might take 1 second. The freedom might be immediate. I keep thinking about how I felt on that deck. The coffee, the sunlight, the ridiculous, glorious lightness within, and the truth that arrived with it, which is the truth I'm going to leave you with today. You don't have to keep doing things the way you were told. You're allowed to want what you want. And sometimes the bravest, most freeing thing you can do is to stop trying to manage the burden and simply set it down. I did it on an ordinary Saturday morning with a single click. I gave myself the fresh start of freedom. And so can you. So this week, find your delete button and press it. I'll be right here waiting to hear all about it.